Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome in once again to the HyperX D2L, this Thursday edition, pitting two of the best teams coming out of Europe, Virtus.pro and Na'Vi. Now, VP has really seen a major revitalization in their play. They lost solo quite some time ago. They seem to be having some trouble filling that gap. But since having Blow Your Brain play as a common stand-in, Blow, of course, of Virtus.pro fame from last year, they really have begun to find their success, and that success and where they are as a team going to be tested mightily by Na'Vi. Now, this is a very important match for a number of reasons. We're going to get into that in just a moment. First and foremost, though, let's take a look at how these two teams match up in terms of roster. Na'Vi, a team that hardly needs an introduction. They're led by Puppy on the support jungle, with Havost in the hard carry position, probably the most popular player on the entire planet, and Dindy holds down mid, with Funnick in the offlane and Crow on hard support. They come in with a 4-2 record right now, not too shabby. Their two losses coming to Alliance in a match that ended up sending Alliance as our direct seed to our grand finals in Vegas when they lost that match, allowing Alliance to finish with a perfect record, 7-0, and then an upset loss as well coming to Team Liquid. Now, that's going to have major ramifications as we look forward from now on, but for now, let's take a look at Virtus.pro. VP, again, they've been playing without a carry, or had been playing for some time. They still technically are, though for the most part, they're always using Blow Your Brain in that carry position. They have NS, the leader on the hard support, God in mid, Light of Heaven in the off lane, who struggled trying to fill in as a carry, but really has found his rhythm once again in the role in which he's most comfortable. And, of course, Arzar, better known as Smile, in the hard support position. Now, let's take a look at their record. 3-3 with only 6 points. Now, what the points are is the total numbers of games won. So, in other words, it's better to lose pretty than to lose ugly. If you're going to lose, you want to lose 2-1 because points are our secondary tie-breaking metric. And with that in mind, let's look at the overall standings and see what this match means, not just the VP, but the teams behind them in the standings as well. As we can see, Alliance finished 7-0, a perfect 7-0 and 14-point record, so they're definitely not only going to the playoffs, they actually skipped the playoffs. They're directly seeded to our grand finals in Vegas coming up in January. Behind them is Na'Vi. They're, of course, already locked in for the playoffs. Team Liquid already locked in as well. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. You look at Evil Geniuses. They had to forfeit against Na'Vi just yesterday, unable to resolve their connection issues. They're sitting at 2-4 with 7 points. Now, that's the thing EG has going for them. Obviously, they're right on the outside of the bubble right now. 2-4, not good enough to make the cut. It's only positions 2, 3, 4, and 5 that make it into our bubble race playoffs. However, when EG has lost, they have lost pretty. So now Virtus.pro, who's right on that bubble as well, but on the inside, they're at 3-3. This is their last match. This is their last chance to net a win and to guarantee themselves a shot in the playoffs. Then you have Fnatic above them sitting in 4th position right now. They have 2 more matches left as of right now. The only way that Evil Geniuses has a chance to play their way in is for Virtus.pro to drop this series. Well, I shouldn't say the only chance. It is possible, of course, that Fnatic could end up losing 2 in a row as well, but based on the way things shake out, Fnatic's last match will be against the struggling Mousesports squad. They're at 1-5, but that singular win coming against Dignitas, which was a forfeit win. So Mao's a great team still developing. You have to figure Fnatic is going to be a heavy favorite there. So realistically, playing by the percentages, Evil Geniuses has to have a Virtus.pro loss here today. Now, even if VP loses 2-1, they're still going to have 7 points sitting at 3-4. After that, EG will have to win their last series coming up, one of those being against Fnatic, of course. So EG is hoping and praying for a Virtus.pro loss, but VP, of course, they're not going to have any of it. They're going to match up against the team they know very well in Na'Vi, try to get that win and try to secure their berth in the playoffs looking ahead to December. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. I'll be joined as always by Ben Berlini-Wu, lending his insight and analysis. Thanks again, guys, for being a part of the broadcast. We're down to the nitty-gritty, down into the last few days of D2L play, and still a lot could happen between now and then. Moving ahead, game number 1 of Virtus.pro taking on Na'Vi coming up next. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And as you can see, the draft already well underway. VP Na'Vi, game one on the way. Naga Siren and Vengeful, a couple of support pickups. Well, could be support. You never know. We've been seeing a couple of instances of Naga Siren back in the carry position. Na'Vi, though, going to go ahead and grab up that Venomancer pick they've been favoring so much, and not just them, many teams and many players, especially many captains, drafting a very early Venomancer when he's not banned. Grabbing him and sticking him with the Lifestealer already. A lot of kill potential if they wanted to run an offensive tri-lane or just even try to play defensive in the face of any pressure. To break down this draft as well as lend his insight and analysis to the rest of the game, just as he has throughout the entire HyperX D2L Season 4, welcome in once again Ben Merlini-Wu. And tell you what, Ben, it's been a fun ride so far. We've only got about 4 more days of play left, and still a lot of things up for grabs in the HyperX D2L. That makes me happy. I love seeing this format, and I love seeing these teams duke it out until the last breath.
Exciting match on our hands here. VP versus Na'Vi. Yesterday, VP was able to take down Na'Vi in a best of 1. And today, the odds are about 70-30 in favor of Na'Vi. And I'm curious to see just what Na'Vi is going to draft this game. And notice that they did one particularly important thing that I think is very important for VP is banning out the Darkseer. And we've seen a lot of Heaven struggle on other offlane heroes. We saw his Bounty Hunter pair up versus Quake Fuzz, Lone Druid the other day. We've seen him struggle just on carry heroes that aren't Darkseer. And he just doesn't seem to do that well. And I mean, Light of Heaven's like just so experienced as a player. I'm surprised that he just underperforms on the other ones. But until then, I think it's a very smart first ban on Darkseer just because he plays that hero very, very well. And on the side of VP, we have some very typical bans coming out. Funix Clockwork banned out. We see Puppy's Chen as well as the Timbersaw. I think these are all pretty good bans. Dendi has a fairly wide repertoire of heroes mid that you can't ban out, and Havos has actually picked up his adaptability and flexibility too.
Yeah, I mean, Havos really has been a huge catalyst in Na'Vi's expansion. I mean, such was the time he only played a handful of carriers, and even then he was very, very good. But like you said, he really has expanded his hero pool, and we see Na'Vi do a lot with a lot of different carries. In this case, one can predict it's going to be Havos on the Lifestealer, and they're going to go ahead and get Kuroki's Visage. Now, this is a very, very powerful two-support tandem in Venomancer and Visage, the VV combo. And generally speaking, we see these two heroes so popular and so well respected by most pro teams. It's rare to see these two get together with one being picked in the second phase, generally by now, especially with a Visage. Hard to believe he survived this deep into the draft. Virtus Pro, though, going to go ahead and snag up the Doom. Now, Doom's an interesting hero, 6.79, in my opinion, anyway. With the jungle changes, there were a lot, you don't see as much Nature's Prophet, really. You don't see as many hardcore junglers as you used to outside of the Chen and Enchantress. Chen remains very popular, especially with teams like Na'Vi. But Doom's jungle speed is actually kind of absurd, especially if he decides to go with a very early Midas pickup. His experience gain can be through the roof. And whenever you're talking about his potential to shut down a hero like a Lifestealer, I feel like it's a really nice pickup from Virtus Pro, and they're going to have a bit of a safety belt there, as well as a hero that can farm himself into a late-game semi-carry position. Na'Vi, though, will go ahead and get Dindy's Puck with their 4th position.
Yeah, I think Doom's a good pickup. One thing I really like about Doombringer is that he can actually contribute a lot as soon as he's level 6, unlike some heroes like Nature's Prophet. I mean, he's like all right when he's level 6, but I mean, Doom compared to Wrath of Nature, and he Nature's Prophet usually has a farm of Midas plus another item before he usually fights. Like, Doom just gets online much earlier, and you can even gank before that too. If you get a Centaur or even Shockwave Creep earlier, can be very, very annoying. And his jungle speed is pretty quick too. So I like how he's very flexible as a jungler. And the Puck pickup for Dendi, I think, is a really good pickup for them. We saw Dendi on the Magnus yesterday, and it just ain't his hero.
No, and then, and that's okay to say. I mean, it's not... I mean, we saw him struggle a bit on Kunkka against Alliance, and it's funny, we actually had a little bit of a back and forth about that after that match. But, I mean, when it comes to Dindy, his skill set and what he's best at, what makes him so phenomenal and such an unbelievably popular player is what he's able to do with higher skill cap heroes like a Puck, for example, and heroes that allow him to really just show his unbelievable game sense, his ability to make something out of nothing. And I really love Na'Vi's draft right now. Like, when I look at Virtus Pros, I don't have a problem with it. I think you've got some interesting combinations. You've got the ability to lead off with Ensnare. You've got, for early ganks, especially with a Vengeful Spirit, who is very effective in roaming early on. AA plays an excellent Venge. We've seen that just throughout this tournament, but also in the past. Bad Rider, of course, very aggressive in his nature. It's a nice mix of offense and defense, especially when you factor in Naga Siren's song for VP. But Na'Vi, you've got everything you need. You've got early push and counter push with Veno and Visage together. You've got Lifestealer who can peak early but also can scale late. You've got Puck for the Lifestealer bomb, as well as just having that long-range initiation potential. There's just so many ways for Na'Vi to use this lineup that you just can't determine right now. It depends on how they want to build it and how they want to try to peak it in terms of getting the Lifestealer off to a good start. Do you want to farm him hard and maybe try to do something with just the supports, or do you start fighting early as 5? Looks like VP, though, of the mind, they're going to start fighting early as 5 as a Disruptor's the pick up, and Disruptor an excellent way to deal with early 5-man.
Disruptor's like fairly hard to set things up for unless you have the Naga Siren ultimate, but you really have to be on the offensive for that. It's if you have to use Naga Siren often a lot defensively to save people, then they're not going to get the mileage out of Disruptor, especially without a Darkseer from Light of Heaven. And last but not least, we see the Storm Spirit pick up, and this makes our lanes slightly weird. Oh no, Dendi is on there and Funix on the Puck. I actually don't believe I've seen Funix Puck, but the one reason I really like Navi's lineup is because they're actually picking heroes that they're good with. And Havos class or Lifestealer classic Havos hero, and then we just saw Venomancer on Puppy. He's like dominated the other day. He had like Tranquils and Medallion and Ghost Scepter and a few other items the other day, and he was able to like survive in Fest Bombs. It was pretty ridiculous. And Kuroki's Visage, one of the best, although the other day it was not so hot.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it up and down. I really like the Puck pick up here. It's a bit of a surprise pick because you see a Puck come out in 4th position, go, okay, there's Dendi's hero. And it's been a long time since I've seen a strictly off-lane Puck, which is what I would imagine this will be. Puck really is a hero that has to have his experience gain, has to have quick levels to feel effective. And it's even worth sacrificing gold on him so long as he can stay on par or stay ahead in terms of levels. So, I'm like you. I can't remember having seen Funix on Puck. I'm sure he's played it because there was a time going back a year or more ago when Puck, he was run mid, but you honestly saw him in the off lane as often as not. And with Funix, of course, always being an off laner, looking all the way back to the days of Empire, of course. I'm sure he's got some professional matches under his belt on the hero. It's we miss Nahaz. Wish Nahaz were here. I'm sure he would inform us, but. Early on, as we've got a quick pause here, Merlini, tell me in a few sentences what you think is going to be key for both teams based on the compositions we see right now.
I think it's most important for VP to apply pressure in the mid game before they get like huge items up on Na'Vi, like before they get like Legions or Orchids or the Blink on Puck is going to come out eventually, and just before Lifestealer gets a ton of items too, Mech, possibly Pipe. I think they should definitely get a Pipe, but Disruptor really shines against non-BKB heroes, and I doubt that he'll be able to farm his Scepter this game. And they just have like the perfect aggressive lineup too. They have Glimpse to send people back, the Static Storm immediately after to catch difficult to kill heroes such as Puck and such as Storm Spirit. They had the Lasso Initiate too, that also goes through Lifestealer Rage, the Doom that goes through Lifestealer Rage, the Swap that goes through Lifestealer Rage, and the Net. And they just like, who do you doom when you're doing this game? Like, you want to do the Puck, you want to kill Havos too, and you want to kill the Storm Spirit. So I think that like any choice of targets is fine for him, but if you do one of those, the other two are going to run rampant. So I think it's important for VP to keep them under farm, bring the fight to them, and Na'Vi just don't fall too far behind in the lanes early. If Na'Vi can get off to a good start and just make use of Lifestealer bombs constantly, then I think they'll be set up in a pretty good position to win the game.
As you can see, I just typed it in. We're going to have a remake for, I'm positive the ticket was set, but for whatever reason it didn't properly load in with ticket accessibility. We certainly don't want to rob our ticket holders of anything, so we'll be right back with a quick remake. Probably going to take us 2 minutes at most. Stick with us, guys. You're on the HyperX D2L. Game 1 will resume next. And we're back, so quick remake, and this time our Dota TV viewers should be able to join the show, so sorry about that, guys. The setting was set, so I'm not sure what the issue was, just a slight bug, something like that, but either way, we're ready to get underway. Game number 1 of Na'Vi taking on Virtus Pro, and a little bit of revenge opportunity for Na'Vi. As Ben mentioned, Virtus Pro actually managed to get the best of them in a best of 1, best of 3, certainly a dog of a different breed in that regard, but that should just go to show. I mean, we knew coming into the season, and we talked about it on air and elsewhere, Ben, Virtus Pro is an extremely strong team with a ton of experience. Just with the loss of Solo, their carry position player, they really were having stability issues since adding Blow. And at this point, I mean, he is more or less their de facto carry, probably just waiting for a contract or to resolve any issues that might be outstanding. But Blow played with Virtus Pro last year, leading up to the International. And, this is a guy who just fits in so unbelievably well to this lineup. And I really think that over the next weeks and months, we're going to see Virtus Pro become a heavily, heavily respected team coming out of the West, much more so than they are right now.
Yeah, not only did they have roster inconsistency though, it's somewhat of their play inconsistency. So I think they definitely do have the potential to become a very, very good team. It's just some days they have their off days, some days they're just like on fire though.
And we can see Light of Heaven snags up the Invis rune. He's going to chase Funnick back away. It looks like Funnick actually will have some help down here. That's going to be Puppy on support, so supporting Funnick while Light of Heaven holds down the off-lane Doom, which is an interesting choice. We'll touch on that. We'll watch him exchange blows, but we will be running through the lineup shortly. Now, Puppy's going to be here in a minute, so Funnick, had some very good body blocking. There it is. They managed to get the Gale. Light of Heaven unable to find his way around it. Will go ahead and heal himself up a bit as he retreats under his own tower. They're not going to dive him, but forcing him to tango out and go ahead and use up some mana. Not too bad of early harassment there. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the lineups. We got Puppy on the Vino, as we just saw. Havost will be farming the Lifestealer out in this offlane. Will be a 2-1-2 configuration for Na'Vi. Dindy setting up shop in mid on one of his signature heroes of Storm Spirit. Kuro going to be back on the Visage, looking to have a better game than the last time we saw him on it. And Funnick, as mentioned, will be on the puck. We're going to have a quick pause. It'll allow me to continue running through our lineups. NS, the leader and drafter for VP, will be handling the Disruptor. Always fun when you see a Disruptor in game. Light of Heaven, as we just saw, took a bit of abuse, but still holding strong on the Doom here in the off lane for the Dire side. We're going to have God here in mid on our bat. The Naga Siren will be played as a farming Naga, and we'll touch on that. By Blow Your Brain, and AA going to be back on Venge, and he has been playing a lot of Vengeful Spirit lately. We've seen him have a fair amount of success on the hero.
He definitely favors other supports, not the traditional supports either. Like Vina and Visage aren't really their thing. They really like the Shadow Shaman, they really like the Disruptor, and they especially like the Vengeful Spirit that you talk about. And sometimes they like to run that as a carry Vengeful Spirit. Light of Heaven already on the slow track on bottom, forced to blow all of his regen already. He does have Scorched Earth up, and he is able to leech some neutral experience, but not having any sort of regeneration left in your offlane hero is just never ever a good sign. Yeah, Blow Your Brain, carry Naga Siren. This is something that we saw Mouse run. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen it before at all, but recently It's just been not very common. A farmed Naga Siren can definitely take out a farmed Lifestealer. The problem is, are you actually going to get there?
Right.
And even if you get your farm up, once Storm gets his Orchid, if he gets his Orchid, then it's just a really difficult road for him to survive. And usually a Naga Siren's death doesn't really matter that much, but in this particular game, it does. And in the mid lane, we have Dendi versus G. This is actually a fairly favorable matchup for the Storm Spirit, and I really haven't seen Bat Riders do very well at all versus Storm Spirits, and Dendi looks like he's finding decent farm, 9-1 versus G's 9-4.
Yep, hanging in there with him right now. Funnick's the big winner on this puck, and I was just going to say there needs to come a point where Light of Heaven sacks that lane. He's getting so little in comparison to what he could be getting just by going a straight-up jungle Doom, and that's exactly what he's going to do. With Devour, a Doom in the jungle can just really hold pace in terms of level gain and gold gain. And we're going to see him put that to the test now as he has rotated out. So that's going to be complete and uncontested free farm for Funnick. And this is going to be a hell of a hit squad between Dindy on the Storm Spirit and Puck, played by Funnick. That's so much reach for Na'Vi to take fights and to just try to catch out any poor positioning. And having both of those heroes up at once, especially whenever they get together with the rest of their team, having the Storm dedicated to just going after Blow Your Brain and having the Puck to just be your general AoE assassin, it's going to be problematic for Virtus Pro if they're not always in the right position. Having the Bat certainly will help with that, and having the Disruptor as a tool to punish poor positioning, or more to the point, to create poor positioning for Na'Vi if they happen to overstep their bounds a little bit. That'll certainly help, but in the end, I got a feeling that Blow Your Brain, Song of the Siren is really going to be one of the key spells we see throughout this entire game. Their ability to get out of fights they don't want to take, but more importantly, to initiate fights on their terms anytime they're ready to.
And, I mean, not only does Light of Heaven get, or does Funnick get free farm, but also Puppy gets free farm. And he already has his boots, and he can start making things happen, like wards and sentry wards will probably come fairly easily to him. And that's something that you can't really underestimate as a Venomazer. I certainly did the other day, but when he had his Ghost Scepter, he was just super annoying on that hero. It looks like Puppy is able to get the Invis rune on bottom. He is going to go on G right now.
And we're going to miss First Blood at top as AA. Looks like he overstepped his bounds. We're likely to see a kill here. Storm's actually not coming to help. Puppy should get this. One more auto attack. Can he catch him? Oh, a little bit of pathing there. He should be able. No, he actually went the wrong way. God, Puppy not going to dive it, but shoved out of lane. Certainly a big boon for Dindy. But
I thought he was going to try and block him with the ward over here. He could have placed a ward over here and would have blocked his path, or over here, or over here. And you can just kind of chase him down with Dendi if he doesn't go back to base. So I'm not exactly sure. Just got juked by not juking at all.
And they are going to be able to bring down this bot tier 1 just like that. So Virtus Pro notches First Blood, but gives up the first tower as well. And I didn't see what happened at top at all. Was focused at bottom. Dindy going to be caught out a little in mid and take some damage. But, you know, Visage just not as tanky as he used to be at early levels. Now they're going to go ahead and engage on God. There's the Vortex after the Grave Chill and the Soul Assumption. One more auto attack will do it, but no level 6 for Dindy, and he's too low. Puppy's going to rotate over. Look at Kuro just eating that Firefly damage for free. He might die here. Woohoo. Couple of more auto attacks from the range creeps would have done it. He survives, though, so failed gank there in mid. Remains 0-1.
And G's already level 6, too. And Havos going on AA.
Yep, AA caught out at bottom. Havos plus Funnick able to get on top of him. Just like that, Na'Vi evens the score. Taking a look at the gold graph through all the action. Difference is basically that tower. Na'Vi leading by 1,000.
And NS on warding duty right now. Checking the level of the support heroes, we see Doom's almost level 5 actually. NS is almost level 4, and AA is actually almost level 5 too. So the supports on VP are doing very well in terms of levels. Venomancer and Visage only level 3. So this is a pretty big concern if I were Na'Vi right now. They need the Visage birds up as soon as possible so they can start fighting in the swap, and the Static Storm is going to be pretty darn difficult for them to deal with this early into the game.
And that's just snagged an invisibility rune and is rotating up to top lane, going to try to catch someone out. So far, the rest of the lanes look to be settling out, and he's going to hide out there. Maybe look to catch Puppy. He's got help rotating over. That'll be Light of Heaven. Puppy's in trouble. There's going to be... He actually just threw out the Thunderstrike, but yeah, I thought he would throw a kinetic field, not even needed. Funnick's going to jump in, get off a two-man silence. Light of Heaven healing through what little damage was done with Scorched Earth. So no reprisal. Virtus Pro gives up another, or takes another, I should say, make it 2-1.
Oh, wait, we may see Kuroki going around behind the tower, but it looks like he senses it out, at least with that Observer Ward there. That thing is about to expire, but Funnick may catch Blow Your Brain.
Blow going to be coiled out. Dindy's just to the south. He's going to jump in. That's going to be another death on Blow, or another kill going the way of Na'Vi. And Kuro helping Funnick out. God trying to pursue out Funnick. And should be able to catch him. He's got a lasso, obviously. No Blink Dagger yet. Nope. Got there a little bit late. Dindy just to the south, could come help if needed. Don't know that it will be needed. He's almost back to mid lane now. He's got help waiting there as well. And nope, there's the stun. Magic Missile did connect. Uses the wand charges. Phase shifts out and will jaunt. Can they catch him one last time? 8 stacks there. Dindy's going to grab NS. They will be able to... Oh, there's a attempted phase shift, but here comes Blow. They're going to try to reinitiate off a Song of the Siren, and he's going to be able to jump to safety. So 1-for-1 trade so far as they picked off NS behind the action. Remains tied up 3-3 this time.
I'm surprised Puppy didn't rotate to help him too. He could have just like came over here and just had a Gale as they were all chasing him, but he placed like 10 wards in the middle and ran out of mana. But he is finally level 6 now. But that will not get him his ultimate. Instead, it will give him a level 4 Plague Ward. Or level 3 Plague Ward, rather. And Visage, yeah, still suffering there, 0-1-0 on Kuro. Not really contributing to any kills, but still preventing Funnick's deaths. I mean, that did buy them a fair amount of time, of both actually getting some time to farm on bottom and catch up and farm to Naga Siren, and Naga Siren actually forced to TP mid and rotate. So all in all, Gold Graph still in favor of Na'Vi. Almost 1,500. Dendi under the cover of a smoke looking for a kill in mid.
Smoked up, picked up a DD, and we'll go ahead and pop it. And he's going to dive. This AA's in trouble. Caught out, Vortex back, and here comes the jaunt just to seal the deal. Here's Disruptor, though. NS does have 3 points in a glimpse. Will not spid one, though, as Dindy makes it to safety. Puppy's going to hook back up with him. This tower in mid has been relatively untouched, but we're going to see that change now. Not a whole lot he can do by himself. God is rotating down, but looks like he just wants to stack up and try to farm his Blink Dagger as quick as he can out of the jungle. And yeah, they're doing a lot of damage here. Dindy with that DD plus Puppy and Funnick have this tower down. They may get it down right now. They already spent their glyph, so no way to keep it up. Another tower down in favor of Na'Vi.
And Na'Vi are the aggressors this game. They're the ones pushing the towers. They're the ones setting up the ganks, and VP is forced to react to their play. And that's not really where VP shines. They're really a snowbally kind of team, getting off to an early good start, and if they're not the aggressors, they tend to fall behind. And G's still quite a bit away from his blink. He hasn't died yet, but he still needs 750 gold until he gets that. So maybe like a 12-13 minute blink, and they need that up ASAP. And meanwhile, Na'Vi can just hook up Storm Spirit and Life Stealer. Looks like Avos actually going for an early Midas phase build. I don't think it's the worst build for him. We do see a smoke, Light of Heaven looking to doom him.
And Light of Heaven just hit a fresh 6. They're going to try. Yep, there's a swap. Doomed out. Avos going to try to run quick as he can. Phase not going to be up in time as he is caught and cleaved down by Light of Heaven. And in the meantime, though, a little bit of pressure remains being put on by Na'Vi. They are doing their best to corral Virtus Pro into bad situations. Light of Heaven and AA will go ahead and retreat as we see the rotation from Funnick and Dindy. This is that hit squad I was talking about. Between the two of them, Funnick and Dindy are going to be able to get the initiation advantage on any 2 or 3 heroes they run into, and it's just so hard to cope with that. And look at this. This is what I'm talking about, corral. Just saying, nope, you can't have that, camp. That belongs to me.
Yep. Puppy, not really the most aggressive Venomancer. He plays a much different Venomancer than other players, though. Just always having wards out, just getting information about the enemy team, getting his farm up and denying the enemy's farm, and kind of like a tempo controller instead of just a ganker and disabler, which is very unusual, but he plays it to great effect. And meanwhile, they're pressuring, AA almost died down there.
Yep, they actually almost got Light of Heaven, too. He was forced to TP out. God did TP in and is trying to track him down. He'll be spotted now, but the innate mobility of Puck a bit too much. And, yeah, it was basically just Puck going on them and got some damage done. But they end up coming away relatively unscathed at 11.5 minutes in. 4,000 gold, the advantage for Na'Vi. So they're not only getting the win in towers and map control, they're getting the win just in pure mechanics as of right now anyway.
Yeah, they really have to watch out for the Song of the Siren combo. Song of the Siren into one person getting doomed and one or two people getting static stormed into a kinetic field that's already set up. That can easily be a lost fight for Na'Vi. And with it already down, you can't pop your defensive cooldowns. No Puck phase shift, no storm jump, and no lifesteal rage. And you really need to rely on those as heroes. So if we see another defensive ultimate from Blow Your Brain, I definitely don't think it's best suited to that. They saved a disruptor last time, I believe, with it, which is I don't think worth it when you can get 2 or 3 heroes and potentially a tower in here. It looks like they're going to smoke up top.
Going to try to punish Na'Vi. At best, they could get Dindy and Kuro, and they're not. Yep, they are going to be able to glyph. And here comes NS. 3 points in a glimpse once again. He's going to go ahead and move in. There's Song.
Oh,
Popping
there's
Song.
nobody there.
And Dendy's able to make it away, so they pop Smoke and the Song just to get Kuro. And in the meantime, the rest of Na'Vi continuing to find free farms. So, I mean, you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth and say, well, it sucks they got to kill. But look in mid. Puppy's continuing to soak solo XP.
They were just going to get this tower, too. Like, they didn't deny the tower, sitting at 100 HP. And that's, I think, a big lapse in judgment on their part.
They're going to go ahead and try to push the tier 1 top. As we can see, Funix already there. Here comes Dindy. And with no Song of the Siren, they are rather committed. Funix, under cover of an Invis, is going to go for a mass silence and mass coil. Had potential for a 4-man there, but looks like Virtus Pro sensing out. Not liking it, like you said. Managing to get the top tower nonetheless. And look at the damage Puppy's done here just by himself in mid. He's done nothing but soak solo experience and bring this tower down to half health.
Going to drop.
Light of Heaven. And NS caught out. He ends up dead. NS not likely to get away as here comes Dindy. Makes it out of the Static Storm and the field. AA going to try to TP away. Vortex brought back, cleaned up. 7-5. And this tower in mid, tier 2, not in much better shape. So right now the execution, I mean, you take a look at the kill score. It looks like it's closer than it is. Really, Na'Vi is just kind of beating Virtus Pro in pretty much every phase of the game, but it all comes down to that concept we always talk about, Ben. It's one thing to get kills. You look at the kill score, you see 7-6, you know it's close. But it's more what Na'Vi's doing with those kills. How are they freeing their heroes up? What are they getting done on the map as a result of those kills? And in that phase of the game, they're just crushing Virtus Pro, and it's reflected in the golden experience graph. 7,500 the advantage of Na'Vi. The experience now at about 5,000 their advantage as well.
Yeah, Puppy with Arcane Mech up. We see Puck with his Blink already. Storm Spirit with almost BKB. So, like, the items are kicking in for Na'Vi and kicking in really fast. 7,500 gold lead. And, like, when 5 heroes went up top 4 VP, what did they get? All they got was 1 kill on Kuro. That's it. Like, they didn't force even a glyph on the T1. They didn't get it below half HP. And they weren't even able to save their tower.
Now we've got 4 down here at bottom. They're not going to be able to do this either. Funix going to show up. In the meantime, Dindy split pushing top. They're just getting outmaneuvered, really. Funix did go ahead and spin. Yeah, Dindy or Funix throwing some good coils so far. But, yeah, I mean, Virtus Pro rotated bottom. Didn't even kill Puppy. He was by himself completely. They lost the tier 2 mid. They've got a tier 2 top that's now down to half health. And their jungle is completely not theirs. I mean, Na'Vi has been in control of their jungle for a long time. Swamp onto Funix. And there's going to be the mech used up. Puppy, just look how hard Puppy's hitting right now because he's been left alone so damn long. Light of Heaven trying to swing with him, just not even in the same general range of damage and how much effect he's having on this game. And now we're going to have the Static Storm go down. In the meantime, we can see God trying. Pavos was actually caught in the Static Storm, but God trying to find a target. Light of Heaven going to be blown up as Kuro, in conjunction with Havost, open wounds into Soul Assumption and a few auto attacks, more than enough to bring him down. And God, I mean, he just got his blink, but has yet to even find a chance to use it. How does he even begin to initiate against this squad?
Yeah, they had to just split up in groups if they can. But the problem is they always have Venom wards out and about everywhere. And it's just so darn difficult to push towers when all your towers are getting pushed by Venomancer or just split push from Dendy or whatever it may be. And VP's just stretched thin, trying to defend their towers, trying to get kills on important heroes too. And they probably burned through a few of their smokes already. They burned through all their smokes. And I mean, with Venom wards there to scout out, with offensive observer wards up in the opponent's jungle, it's just very difficult for them to find any opportunity from Na'Vi. And it looks like they will actually see Dendy over here, so he may die. But again, this is a 5-man smoke gank. Oh, actually, they know. I think he knows.
Yep. Well, I mean, everyone missing, and we can see most of Na'Vi's at top right now, so they know they're not in the jungle. Pretty safe assumption that they're heading for that
Dendy, downhill. He does pop uphill, though, but it's right inside of the observer ward.
Lassoed out. And we'll go ahead and show off his BKB and jump away. He just finished his BKB.
Doom was not up for that fight. That's so unfortunate. Light of Heaven had 2 seconds left on Doom.
Kuro's going to go ahead and head bottom, as will the rest of Na'Vi, looking to defend their tier 1. There's the jump. They're going to grab AA. Dindy has his BKB on cooldown. Will be Doom this time around. Funix in there. Nice coil. Got 3. They're going to be able to clean at least 1, if not 2 up. Static Storm and Kinetic Field locking a few in, but really, where's the follow-up? That combination only really works when you have something that can follow up to clean up heroes who can't do anything from inside of it. And by the time they got it off, they'd already lost 3. So another big win for Na'Vi. They now double VP up in terms of kills. Roche is wide open if they want to give it a shot. 12,000 gold the advantage, 12,000 experience, and game 1 seems to be just getting way out of hand short of 18 minutes already.
Yeah, and I mean, what is Naga Siren really going to do versus this sort of lineup? Like, she can sleep right now, but she can't carry. And she wasn't actually at that fight. She was down here pushing the tower. And if he were down there, it would have been a lot different than Puppy about to get picked off.
For a nice free kill, AA will be swapping Blow Your Brains, so getting himself out of trouble after being caught by Kuroki's Grave Chill. And Na'Vi just keeping him pinned back for the moment. This is freeing up Havost even more.
Kuro.
He's got his drums. Let's see, Kuro will be glimpsed back again. And another free kill. Finally, Virtus Pro finding some free ones. But again, all this time, Havost has been free to continue farming. He's got his drums, his armlet, and his phase up already. Looks like he's going for a Sange as he's picked up a Belt of String.
Yeah, I think either HP from him or a Lincoln's, or even a Lincoln's from one of his teammates being able to... Puck he may get glimpsed back here.
And there it is. Brought back and stunned inside the Static Storm. Oh, he face shifts the last second, trying to run and bottle up, not going to work. So at the very least, we're seeing the defensive potential of Virtus Pro's lineup. They haven't been able to do a whole lot on offense, but hey, they're still kind of tough to crack.
Yep, just careless by funding there. You can't play that way versus Disruptor. He will punish you for that. And yeah, they're just giving a few free ones here and there, but they're not giving away free towers, that's for sure.
Yep. Only one tower remaining. That's the Tier 2 top for Virtus Pro right now. Na'Vi, on the other hand, has only lost one. That is their Tier 1 bottom. So very much their game to lose at this point. And, I mean, when you just look at the carry potential of the Lifestealer, Havost is just so far ahead. Again, already a Belt of Strength up. We'll have his Sange up momentarily as he's got another 1,800 gold if that is indeed the build he's going. Compare that to Naga. She's got drums, phase, Bassi, a poor man shield, and just the Yasha. I mean, that's the thing about a Naga Siren carry. She can, but she requires so much to really feel well-rounded. I mean, you can do something like a Radiance build on her, which obviously won't be the case in this game. But even then, I mean, it just takes so long for her to ramp up, and with Lifestealer in such good position already,
Light of Heaven.
Caught out, Doom onto Puppy, and here comes the sleep. And that'll buy Light of Heaven some time. And Naga will go ahead and back out as well, so good defensive use of it there. But it takes her so long to ramp up down the bottom of Boast. This will help. If they catch him out, he's caught in the Static Storm. And they will get a free one. So finally, Virtus Pro, I think, is really starting to feel comfortable with this lineup. That's a lot of unanswered kills they've been able to tally.
Mm-hmm. And Na'Vi should be able to do Roshan soon. I think they need to stick together a little bit more. Ooh, here we go.
Coil on the blow. Gonna try to TP away to the, yep, there's a, they did get him back. Nope, never mind. They sent Kuro back, but now NS is the target. Funix right on his tail. Is going to have an orb momentarily. Using the body block again, and here comes Light of Heaven. Light of Heaven has Doom on cooldown for another 50 seconds. Won't be able to contribute. He is doing a decent amount of damage. Here comes the Soul Assumption on the Light of Heaven. NS still alive for the moment. There's the mech used as Funix now the target of God. Light of Heaven will end up cleaned up for now. They're going to trade 1-for-1 though. And God spotted out. Can they bring him down? AA's there to get the stun and the kill onto the Venomancer. God actually stays alive. Now Kuro taking a bit of damage, but the familiars are there to stun out AA. Good positioning there. Soul Assumption not enough to bring him down, and now there's a magic missile in return, and God blinks back out. They will be able to get him as well, so another favorable trade going the way of VP, and they even managed to get a familiar for an extra little bit of gold. Trouble is, at top, Dindy's been split pushing down, goes the tier 2.
And Void of Brain still managed to scrounge up farm, but, I mean, looking at the gold graph, or sorry, the net worth chart, we see Venomancer a full 500 gold ahead of the Naga Siren, and even Bat Rider's returned Naga Siren. And I think the problem is that it's not actually Blow Your Brain's fault. He just had to do so much for his team because his team just hasn't really done that much efficiently. They've done and accomplished tasks, but at too great of a cost to their own team, to their own farm, and they often have to blow multiple ultimate cooldowns just to kill one weak support hero. But may not be the case here with Vost.
Vost lassoed out and doomed, and he's going to end up dropping. Always good to be picking him off. Now they're going to come back in. There's the coil broken. God's going to be dropped down. There's a glimpse to send him back, but honestly, might have done him a favor. He was just kind of hanging out there by himself for a while. They end up trading 1-for-1 the bat for Havost. The problem with bringing down Havost at this stage is it's just 22 minutes in, but he's already in such good position that he's not really the problem. The problem is how far, for example, Dindy is. I mean, Dindy has already got up his ultimate orb. He'll be getting his Scythe of Ice up before too terribly long. The Puck now with a Yule Scepter just to keep himself alive. The items are just coming out. Hell, Kuro's got his Scepter up even. So you're talking about a lot of development. Mech and Ghost Scepter up. That had a puppy survivability. So I
think Na'Vi could just like bait him out because VP's playstyle is very predictable at this point. They just look for heroes that are out on their own, such as Havost, and just use 2 or 3 heroes with all their ultimates to kill them. So if they just bait it out with like a counter Puck initiate or a counter Storm Spirit initiate, I think that Na'Vi could just 3-0 them in a fight potentially, especially if Puppy's there to mech whoever gets doomed, and then they can just kind of make VP really, really scared to gank. And if they can't gank, they're not getting back into this game.
And here we go. Dindy's actually not going to get a sheep. Hang on, there's a sleep. See what they can get out of it. Dindy, Funnick, and Puppy all going to be caught in the Static Storm kinetic field. Dindy, BKB's out of it. NS taking a lot of damage. There's the mech to keep him alive. Solo assumption for Kuro. Makes it a 1-for-0 exchange. So that's about as best as they could have possibly hoped to have put that together. And they still got 0 out of it. In the meantime, we can see Havost is going to be able to track, almost able to track down Light of Heaven. Light of Heaven hustling away.
Why did he turn around?
Trying to do a bit of damage. In the meantime, Kuro makes it a double kill as they're able to track down, blow your brain off of Funnick's coil back behind the tier 3. We're going to see the immediate jump and the vortex onto God. He's down. That's a mega kill and forcing a buyback out of both heroes. This is an all-in defense at this point. Na'Vi will be happy to go ahead and retreat, costing them so much. There's a stun on the Puppy. Magic Missile doing good damage. AA eating a Soul Assumption uphill. God's going to go ahead and lasso Dindy out, though. Visage Familiars are there doing good damage. Dindy not going to be in any real trouble as he's able to blink or to jump away. And here comes the glimpse. Static Storm not there, but the kinetic field is. Can they bring Kuro down? Nope, they're going to re-engage. Gale came up just short on God. If that had hit, they probably would have gone back in. But as it stands, they do lose Havost. But honestly, Havost has just kind of been like bait. Like he has barely been involved in any fights in the other 4 from Na'Vi.
Creator.
Yeah, basically, it's like they're making them commit 1 or 2 to him while the rest of Na'Vi just rampages around the map as a 4-man kill squad.
Yeah, that was the first time they pulled off the Naga Siren and Disruptor combo. And firstly, there were only 2 heroes there. Secondly, it's 25 minutes into the game. Yep. And thirdly, they already have their items to counter it. Puck already with his Yule Scepter, and we see Stormer, he had BKB like so long ago. So they were prepared for this moment. If they can actually keep Na'Vi under farm and to kill Dendy, who hasn't died yet, or kill Funnick a few more times before they can farm these bigger items, then the combo is a lot more effective. And I mean, that's one of the risks they run with their lineup, though. If they aren't able to execute and Na'Vi just gets BKBs or Yule Scepters, then their combos very ineffective, and it's just it's difficult to execute and win with this sort of lineup.
Dindy has a passenger. God's going to go ahead and initiate. Funnick caught out, will be blown up, and Al's immediately brought down. Dindy's still waiting, the ball landing in. Now he's going to go for it. There's Song, but doesn't matter. Oh, good swap. AA definitely saved him from Havost. Havost right on top of him, and able to get him back to base safely. They end up trading 1-for-1. That's actually a favorable trade for VP as they'll give up NS for Funnick's Puck any day of the week. Problem is now, though, Roshan. And we can see Dindy, by the way, has actually been going for a Lincoln Sphere, just now completed it.
Yeah, so they killed the Puck in this 4-on-2 right then, but they have to blow 2 defensive cooldowns right then, and they almost blew Doom there too, just to save Doom, and that's just not a favorable trade for them. It looks like they're just going to give a free Roshan because of it. I mean, they're like getting the kills, but it's just they're just not executing it very well, and they're just a little bit too far behind to execute it efficiently.
We see Light of Heaven has picked up a Shadow Blade, so they'll need some form of detection now. But to be honest, they're in steamroll position. Kuro,
he has Lincolns too.
The number 5 position, Kuro, up until just now, was actually ahead of Blow Your Brain, the number 1 position on VP's lineup in farm. And we can see there's still only a few hundred gold separating them. So we're going to hear a lasso out. That'll catch Puppy here in mid. Magic Missile disjointed. Puppy's tanky as hell. Now, They're going to spin the Static Storm and Kinetic Field, and they still got off the Poison Nova. Now Dindy back in, going on God. He's going to be force stabbed to safety. Check that. Not to safety, force stab, but AA caught with the Visage Familiars. They're going to get him for free. And, yeah, they just spent just about everything they had on one Venomancer. They did get him, but, yeah, now they're not going to have...
Puck, too. Yeah, to have him with his Shadow Blade.
Radiant's top tower.
Oh, they did. They managed to track him down over at bottom, I see. So... well played there. That might be enough to slow him down a little bit.
Radiant structures are fortified.
And yeah, gold lead extended to about 16,000 right now. Visage has a scepter and going for that early AC build that we see way too like so much. And they get their second tower of the game almost 30 minutes in. Yep. And if they just get a gem and 5-man with the Aegis, I mean, Dendy is just nigh unstoppable at this point too. Like, he will have a sheep fairly soon. He can throw a Lincoln's on Lifestealer and just have him beat on the tower. So he doesn't get swathed, he doesn't get doomed, he doesn't get lassoed by Batrider, and it looks like Puppy is going for a pipe too, and he already has completed. I mean, look at his farm.
Oh yeah, Puppy's huge at this point. Number 3 in terms of overall farm. And we can see Blow Your Brains Naga is catching up a smidgen, but still way outclassed by Havost and Dindy in particular. Sitting at roughly 4,000 and 5,000 behind, and Havosh just finishes an Abyssal. So it's easy to forget how young this game is relatively. I mean, we've seen so much action with 42 kills in a 28-minute game. But Havost now with an Abyssal up. He's got an Abyssal Drums, Phase, Midas, and an Armlet at 28 minutes in. And he honestly has, I mean, he didn't start out the game being given like free farm or anything. That was actually Funnick. And Funnick now with a Perseverance looks like he wants to go ahead and grab up a Lincoln's of his own.
This is with him getting doomed like almost all the time too. Looks like Dendy may get doomed on top here or lassoed, or they're gonna have to execute it really swiftly though.
There's the Lincolns. BKB comes off, and the lasso holds him in place momentarily. But there you go. Immediately jumps forever. Jumps basically from tier 1 to tier 2, spending his entire mana pool. Will be able to make it away safely though. But Dindy's had a standout game, no doubt about it. He's 8-0-5. Has been involved in 13 of the 24 kills tallied by Na'Vi so far. It's kind of a grab bag after that for everyone else, except for NS and, of course, Blow Your Brain, who has struggled quite a bit. Just 0-3 for him.
And Dendy had just really quick reflexes there. And the Lincoln just bought him like maybe a quarter of a second because Batrider, instead of Blink lassoing, has a Blink Force Staff lasso to pop the Lincolns. And then that just gave Storm Spirit the time he needed to pop his BKB because that's instant cast and his ultimate isn't. So really smart and quick play from Dendy right there.
And Light of Heaven, Shadow Blades there, and the Doom after the pop Lincolns. Then they're going to have to hoof it if he wants to get away.
But their T3's getting destroyed.
And we can
see. Is this worth it, Light of Heaven?
They're going right on the ranged racks first. Down it goes. And looks like they're going to
even die.
Yep. And he's actually, BKB's there. Oh, he's going to turn on Light of Heaven from the high ground. Oh, yeah, that's problematic. Has no detection, so he won't be able to kill him. And he will just go ahead and head back home. In the meantime, fight's broken out at top. NS being just utterly decimated by Havost. AA, BKB, just a run for the well. God's cleaned up. Havost actually gets that kill as well. And would imagine the GG not far away. At this point, the lead just truly insurmountable for Na'Vi. Up near 20,000 at 30 minutes in. And Dindy actually manages to get tracked down. Light of Heaven, after all, finds him out near the river.
Taking out the Rex right now. What are you gonna do, Blow Your Brain? I mean, he has Manta style, but still just not enough farm to compete. Visage almost equivalent in net worth to them.
Tier 3 mid, next on the list, Havost. Still has his Aegis up for a while, at least a few more minutes. And that's going to be 2 sets of racks. That should just about do it. So looking at the looking back here, I can't help but really think that this is just almost a draft win for Na'Vi. Not to say that they certainly didn't execute well, but I mean, like you said, I mean, when you look at VP, where was their mid-game punch? They had a lot of abilities that were nice to shut down, a lot of the mobility, a lot of the range and reach of Na'Vi. But they executed on Havost for the most part. He was doomed every time he was ever spotted farming, but it just wasn't enough. Na'Vi just had the ability to do so much around the map that they were able to outmaneuver VP pretty much from the moment the laning phase broke down. And Doom on the Puppy. And Snares there as well. Here comes Funnick back in. Visage Familiars. Nice coil. 4-man coil off the Visage Familiar stun. Flow's going to try to TP away. caught out Vortex. Dindy just going utterly bonkers right now. G will be forced back to the well. And they managed to get NS behind it. Buyback from Blow. Don't think it's going to much matter as the third tier 3 is dropping. And Blow just kind of hanging out, waiting on the phase shift from Puck to end. Aegis will be reclaimed, but not before Mega Creeps join us on the map. And there's the GG Blow, singing them a victory song, I suppose.
Yeah, and when you have to doom the Venomancer, you know the game is not going well for you. Yeah, I do think it was a draft issue, and also a playstyle issue, though. Like, VP just had to commit way too many people, way too many personnel to ganks, and Naga Saturn can't really contribute that much to early fights if she doesn't have to farm. And she's not really that hero that can like farm and fight at the same time, not when she doesn't have that easy of a start when paired against that double lane up top. So I think VP just needs to get up to an early, better start. 0-7 on Disruptor, just not a good pick when they all have their items before you can get your combo off.
Yep, 0-7 on NS's Disruptor, not the best. 0-4 for Blow Your Brain, who never really had a chance to get his legs underneath him. God played all right, 9-5-5, and he hit some good lassos. But again, I mean, when you just look at this lineup and how they were going to match up against Na'Vi in the mid game, it became, you know, we talked about it during the draft that we could foresee some problems, and Na'Vi made that premonition come true. 11-0 on Storm Spirit, played by Dindy. Truly standout performance from him. Havos Lifestealer, 6-4-6, kind of quiet, but in the end had, you know, his inventory was certainly quite stacked, getting the Midas up in about 10 minutes, paying for itself very quickly. And of course, Phonix Puck, 3-6-16 doesn't really tell his story. He played pretty well for the most part, ended up being picked off a few times later on. But for the most part, really doing his job in conjunction with Dindy Storm, just to make sure VP never felt comfortable anywhere on the map, no matter how big of a group they happen to be running in. 32 minutes, 43 seconds, the official game time. 31-20, the final kill score. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. Game 1 is in the books, and Na'Vi just one more game away from finishing out their play schedule so far. Virtus.pro, again, if they win this series, they shut the door on Evil Geniuses. EG, though, even if VP does lose, still has their work cut out for him and has to get a win against Fnatic. So still lots of playoff implications, and Virtus.pro certainly not wanting to go quietly into the good night, especially when yesterday they showed they can beat this Na'Vi squad. Voice you're hearing on the other end of the line, by the way, that's Ben Merlini Wu. You can find us both on Twitter. I'm at AC. He's at Merlini Dota. This is our lone best of 3 of the day, so what could be our final game coming up next in Game 2? Make sure you stick with us. Can't wait to see how this concludes. Virtus.pro and Na'Vi, Game 2 on the way next. Here on the HyperX D2L. Stick with us. We'll be right back.